pick flowers. I talk to birds. I do all kinds of warm, fuzzy things. You know what else? I kill.
What I've learned about TikTok is that the algorithm will drop you off just about anywhere. It could be a random stranger's wedding to then suddenly seeing a fan edit of a show you have never heard of before. And that is exactly how I came to watch Once Upon a Time in 2026. I can safely say I've never felt crazier than I have this year trying to explain to people the show that I'm watching. It starts well and then leaves me over-explaining and then having to defend the plot. But here's the thing, I will defend the plot because this is a fun show. For those of you like me who missed the era of Once Upon a Time, the story goes like this, and buckle up. Emma is a bondswoman from Boston who, on her birthday, after catching a guy who did something, it's besides the point, you don't need to know what he did because I simply can't remember, she makes a wish on a small cupcake in her apartment. As she blows out the candle, there's a knock on the door. It's a small child, Henry. He proceeds to tell her, "Hey, I'm your son, you gave me up for adoption 10 years ago, remember?" She does remember, and also wants nothing to do with it, and is in panic mode, and is like, "I need to take you home." It was an immediate in for me at this point. I was like, this is not at all what I thought this show was going to be. Obviously, Emma's not so keen on being ambushed by this child, so she drives him back home. Guess where he lives? It's a town called Storybrooke. It's very on the nose, but it's fantastic. But wait, during the drive, he makes sure to tell her that there's something unusual about his town. There's a curse. Everyone is a fairy tale character and they just don't remember that they are.
What?
It's a little scary.
This curse, well, it was placed on the town by Henry's adoptive mother, Regina Mills, aka the Evil Queen, according to Henry. Oh, and she's also the mayor of the town. Very important. It's nuts. Utterly nuts. And there's no good way to pitch this show to someone to watch without sounding crazy yourself. But you just have to go on the ride.
I kind of ate the only boyfriend I've ever had.
A surprise to some, and definitely a big surprise to me, Jamie Dornan appears in the show as the sheriff for all of 5 minutes before he clearly leaves to go shoot 50 Shades of Grey. In real life, that is, but if that was a plot in the show, it wouldn't be the craziest thing that's ever happened. For some reason, I'm on Regina's side immediately, perhaps because she's a woman in a male-dominated field, and I respect it. As you would expect, she's not so happy when her son returns home with his birth mother, who then refuses to leave because Henry is utterly terrified of Regina, as am I, but I find it attractive. Thus begins the war between the two mothers in every sense of the word. Regina is mother.
I didn't come for dinner. And what did you come for? You.
There is no point in this show that I dislike her, which is perhaps something I need to look at within myself. I don't know what it is. It's not even morally grey. At times she is awful, but we can ignore that and appreciate the pantsuits and the dresses. Now, as we watch this plot unfold, we're met with backstory. A ton of it. Flashbacks to the Enchanted Forest, the true origin of these characters. We meet Snow White and Charming and watch him save her from the sleeping curse. Now, it may seem that the stories are following the fairy tales that we know and love. Wrong. These stories are turned on their head completely. Little Red Riding Hood is a wolf, for some reason. The Evil Queen is in love with Robin Hood. Makes sense. Rumpelstiltskin is Henry's grandfather, and Belle, well, she falls in love with Rumpelstiltskin. Trying to connect the family tree in this show is a headache within itself.
Rumpelstiltskin is Henry's grandfather?
Apparently.
But I'm his grandfather.
At some point, you just have to assume that everyone is related in one way or another, which makes it complicated when you're kind of shipping Regina and Emma together, but that's besides the point. We're not even going to touch on that in this video.
So his step-grandmother is Regina, the Evil Queen.
Actually, his step-great-grandmother.
I forgot to mention a key detail, and it's arguably one of the most important plot points. Emma Swan is the daughter of Snow White and Prince Charming. Just keep in mind this town has been frozen for about 28 years because of the curse. So they look the same age. Emma then proceeds to go move in with Mary Margaret when she just refuses to leave town, obviously not knowing that's her mother yet until the end of season 1. And then it just becomes weird. The mother-father-daughter dynamic is just quite bizarre when they all look the same age. But once again, we can just ignore it. It's absolutely fine. Nothing makes sense. everything's weird. But here's the thing, this is what makes this show so damn great. On paper, this shouldn't work at all, not in the slightest. The CGI is questionable, and that's being very polite actually. The plot is unhinged, and every season manages to introduce an even bigger and crazier problem. I mean, Hades shows up at some point, and guess what? He's in love with the Wicked Witch of the West. And of course, she is also Regina's sister. Despite all that, I managed to binge the show in record time, and I'm not even going to tell you how long it took me because it should have taken me much longer. So clearly, for the last few weeks, I had no life because 7 seasons, been and gone. When I finished it, I mourned it. Well, I mourned the characters and the world I was living in for 7 seasons, but I was certainly ready to move on with my life after that final season, which felt quite torturous. They had countless opportunities to end it, both in season 3 and season 6, having nice wrap-ups of the story. But no, here comes season 7, and a time jump. They really said, let's just do it all over again, and that's exactly what they do. As I said though, I did mourn this show because it reminded me of the type of television we don't make anymore. The show didn't prioritise visual effects, production value, or prestige. Instead, it focused on strong character development over 24 episode seasons. It allowed itself to be weird in a very fun way that TV doesn't do anymore. And by the end of it, you spent so long with these characters that you're almost desperate to live in Storybrooke. I mean, I would happily allow the evil queen to curse me. I would even thank her. I'd love it. Modern television seems frightened of leaning into the silly or the absurd. It can feel pretentious at times since the shift of movie stars switching to 10-episode limited series. Once Upon a Time is by no means the greatest TV show ever made, and it's not trying to be. It's trying to entertain you, and it does it so successfully. It commits. It's a family drama 1 minute, and the next thing you know, you're deep in season 6 and Captain Hook is singing a song to Snow White and Charming. At one point, Elsa arrives and Peter Pan kidnaps Henry. Somehow it keeps going, and you want to stay on the journey. The show feels like the last of an era before every television show was trying to win an Emmy. But for 7 seasons, it reminded me what television used to do so well. Make you want to spend time somewhere else. And honestly, I still kind of miss Storybrooke. Let me know if you've watched Once Upon a Time and whether you loved it, surprisingly, as much as I did. It is really quite bizarre how much I enjoyed this show.
It's a picture from up inside Zelina.
Well, mate,